Tuesday's Christmas-themed episode of The Young and the Restless delivers one of those deceptively quiet moments that end up changing everything. There are no dramatic confrontations, no shouting matches, no sudden confessions. Instead, the emotional earthquake comes from something far more realistic and far more dangerous: Sally Spectre witnessing a truth she was never meant to hear. And once that truth is exposed, there is no going back. For months, Sally has lived with a silent fear that she rarely admits out loud. No matter how much Billy Abbott reassures her, no matter how committed he claims to be, Sally has always believed that Victoria Newman is the one woman Billy will never truly let go of. Their history is too deep, their bond too complicated, their family ties too permanent. Sally has felt like she's been standing in the shadow of a relationship that never fully died, only went dormant. Christmas, however, has a way of pulling truths out into the open. As the holiday atmosphere wraps Genoa City in nostalgia and reflection, Billy and Victoria find themselves in familiar emotional territory. Christmas memories bring out shared history, and shared history always brings out honesty. What begins as a quiet conversation between two people who know each other better than almost anyone else soon turns into an unguarded moment, one Sally accidentally witnesses. What Sally overhears is not a declaration of lingering love. It's not a confession of regret. It's something far more shocking in its simplicity. Billy and Victoria acknowledge, without bitterness and without longing, that they never truly ended up together. Despite all the years, all the reunions, all the breakups, and all the assumptions made by everyone around them, their relationship never became the lasting love story it was supposed to be. For Sally, this truth lands like a punch to the chest, but not because it hurts. Because it frees her. For the first time since getting involved with Billy, Sally realizes that the relationship she's been competing with doesn't actually exist anymore. Billy and Victoria's bond, while intense and enduring in its own way, is rooted in shared children, shared trauma, and shared history, not an unresolved romantic destiny. That realization reframes everything Sally thought she knew. Billy's tone during this moment is crucial. There's no wistfulness in his voice. No what ifs. No regret about losing Victoria. Instead, there's clarity. He speaks like someone who has finally accepted the truth about his past rather than romanticizing it. Billy acknowledges that while he and Victoria mattered deeply to each other, they were never able to give each other what they truly needed. They kept trying because it was familiar, because it felt safe, and because everyone expected them to. Victoria's response is just as telling. She doesn't argue. She doesn't push back. She doesn't try to rewrite history. Her silence, followed by quiet agreement, confirms that she has reached the same conclusion. Victoria Newman, a woman known for control and confidence, allows herself a rare moment of emotional honesty. She recognizes that what she and Billy shared belonged to a different chapter of their lives, one that no longer defines who they are. For Sally, this overheard truth becomes a Christmas secret that reshapes her entire emotional landscape. Until now, Sally's insecurities have driven much of her behavior. She's questioned Billy's loyalty. She's doubted her place in his life. She's wondered whether she could ever compete with a woman who shares children and decades of history with him. That insecurity has quietly influenced her decisions, her tone, and even her self-worth. But witnessing this moment forces Sally to confront a painful realization: she hasn't been fighting Billy's past, she's been fighting her own fear. What makes this moment especially powerful is that Sally doesn't interrupt. She doesn't announce herself. She doesn't demand explanations. She simply absorbs the truth and walks away changed. And that change is subtle, but profound. Sally now knows something Billy doesn't realize she knows. That knowledge gives her emotional clarity, but it also creates a new kind of tension. Secrets don't just disappear, they linger. Sally must decide what to do with this truth. Does she confront Billy and admit she overheard a deeply personal conversation? Or does she let the knowledge quietly strengthen her confidence and reshape her expectations? Both options carry consequences. If Sally confronts Billy, she risks violating his trust and reopening emotional wounds that Billy and Victoria may not be ready to fully process. If she stays silent, she risks carrying emotional distance that Billy may misinterpret as withdrawal or doubt. Either way, this secret changes the balance of power in their relationship. Billy, unaware of Sally's newfound clarity, continues behaving as he always has, trying to reassure her through words and gestures. But Sally no longer needs reassurance. She needs honesty, presence, and consistency. And that difference matters. Billy's old methods of easing Sally's fears may no longer be enough, because Sally has moved into a new emotional space, one where she sees herself not as a placeholder, but as a choice. Meanwhile, Victoria walks away from this conversation with her own emotional shift. Acknowledging that she and Billy never truly ended up together forces Victoria to confront how much of her identity has been shaped by relationships that never fully served her. For years, Billy represented unfinished business, a familiar constant she could always return to. Letting go of that narrative means Victoria must now face the future without leaning on the comfort of the past. This realization could have ripple effects far beyond Billy. Victoria may begin reassessing her romantic life, her emotional priorities, and even how she defines success. Letting go doesn't weaken her, it frees her. But freedom comes with uncertainty, and Victoria is not someone who welcomes uncertainty easily. The Christmas timing of this storyline amplifies its emotional impact. Christmas is about reflection, forgiveness, and closure, and this secret embodies all three. Sally doesn't witness betrayal, she witnesses resolution. And sometimes, closure is more destabilizing than heartbreak, because it forces you to confront what you actually want now that excuses and fears are gone. By the end of the episode, Sally isn't smiling, crying, or confronting anyone. But she is different. Her posture changes. Her reactions soften. The tension she once carried begins to loosen. For the first time, she allows herself to imagine a future with Billy that isn't overshadowed by Victoria. Yet that newfound clarity also raises a powerful question. Now that Sally knows Billy's past is truly over, is she ready to fully step into the present? This episode quietly sets the stage for major emotional developments ahead. Sally may become more confident, or more demanding. Billy may sense a shift without understanding its cause. Victoria may begin redefining her future. And all of it stems from a single moment of truth overheard during Christmas, when defenses were down and honesty finally took center stage. In true Young and the Restless fashion, the drama doesn't rely on spectacle. It relies on emotional realism. It reminds viewers that sometimes the biggest revelations don't explode, they whisper. And those whispers can change everything.